Hi, I'm Jeff from Anglers Trading Post, and today we're talking tools, and not just any tools. We're talking about the most beautiful tools in the world, Wasatch Tools. It might look a little overwhelming at first, but we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the ones that you need when you get started and why you might start to add to your kit a little bit. We're going to stay high level with this, don't worry. But if you want to know more, in our Tying University, we'll break down every single tool and all the different ways you can use it. Today, we're talking about bodkins. They're one of the most versatile tools. There's so many different things that we use them for. There's a few things that we use them for. I'm going to say we probably shouldn't, but we'll look at that. So I've got bodkins here, and I've got teasers. I've got a big fat Atlantic. This is the one I use, 90% of the time actually. I use this one a lot, all the way down to size 12. We're going to skip that one. We're going to go to kind of your average size bodkin. It's a nice strong needle. That's really important. If you look at the cheap bodkins, the needles, well, they just bend. Not a very good thing to deal with. So we want a good strong needle in there. This one's nice. It's got a half hitch tool on the back side. We can talk about that. We've got a small one. We use this to split thread. Also, if you're tying size 20 or smaller flies, you just want that tinier tool to get in and do the detail work that you need to do with your bodkin. And then our teasers. This teaser right here is braided stainless. This is really good when you're working with fine hair like hare's ear dubbing, and you just want to get in and kind of spin out little spots in there. This is one of my favorite. We'll look at how this one is used. This is also a teasing bodkin. Use that one. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. I'm going to throw a little bit of dubbing on here. We're going to talk about the best way to do it. Just for demonstration purposes, spin a little on. Now, I have dubbing on there, and it's pretty tight, but the more the dubbing stands out, the more little bits that we get out, it looks like legs, right? When we're thinking about the entomology of things. And so the ability to kind of get in here and start to break up that a little bit, and just figure out exactly how many of those little legs we want sticking out. Bodkin's a great tool for that. And then if I want to, this is a little bit of a big shank for it, but I can do a half hitch by just going once around that thing. Usually I can put that up, but it's not going to work for me. Same idea with do with my finger there. All right, but when I'm working with really fine dubbings, this here is a teasing bodkin, and all we got to do is got little tiny hooks on the side of this that just grab, and all I've got to do is kind of scratch along the sides there, and look at how it just pulls that material out so nicely. Again, working with finely dubbed Adams and hare's ears and little tiny flies like that, the ability to just easily grab material out. This is fabulous. When you get started, all you need is a good standard bodkin. This will do the job most of the time, either one of those sizes. I like the medium-sized one as well. So let's look at this from another angle. Why would we use the bigger bodkin? There we go. Come on. There we go. When I'm taking large amounts of material around, it gets trapped. One layer, you don't get it all pulled back. It can look a little twisted. It starts to look a little bit matted up like that, right? Not very good. This is where the big heavy bodkin comes in. Your smaller bodkins, especially ones that bend like that, are going to really struggle holding up and not bending when you're putting the amount of pressure that's needed to pull all those materials out of that big loop. So when you have a nice thick one, if I just dive it in just by the thickness of this, it's going to pull that material out. So all I got to do is kind of stab it and pull out a little bit. And look at this, we get nicely teased out. I also use it often to kind of dive in, and I'll use it to separate my material before I tie off a brush or a big dubbing loop or a complex dubbing loop or complex twist, whatever, all of the above in there. Just tie this off real quick. That. Remember, don't use your fancy scissors, your lifetime investment scissors for cutting wires. Always make sure you grab your flush cutters for that. There's the flush cutters. Pull everything back. We tie it in. And that is where this bodkin starts to shine. The ability to just pull that material out and not bend and not break. It's nice and solid, and it's going to pull everything out for me. That. Just like that. So let's talk quickly about what we don't use bodkins for. This should not be a glue application device. That glue will settle on there. It will leave little ridges. It'll leave little clumps on there. Yeah, you can pull it off. Yeah, you can clean it every time, but probably not the best way to keep a sharp point sharp. If you want that, well, we've thought of that for you. This little guy right here has a little eye at the end of it, and that is specifically for grabbing the glue for you. So it creates a little tiny bubble of glue. It's still a nice fine point. You can dip into anything, and this is made to take that. We've also gold plated that, so the glue's not going to adhere to the gold. You're going to be able to get that glue back off. And if you watch our Tying University videos, you'll see some of the tricks and techniques that we use for applying glue out here to the thread rather than diving right in and putting it in with our materials. But this is the best way to apply your glue. Please don't use your bodkins. It won't bode well for you. So, other things that we can do. Often when we're working with these, we've got these 3 teasers. And they're for different techniques, however you want to do it. If you're working with softer materials that you want to kind of brush out, but you don't really want to break the fibers, the nylon brush on this tool does a great job. Allows you to kind of pull more stuff out, tease it up where you want it, get that fly looking really nice. The metal one is actually going to tear the material more. So when we dive in and I grab this thing, I'm actually going to tear. It's going to shorten up some of my fibers a little bit, not terribly, but I get in there a little bit rougher when I'm using the metal one, and it's pulling more of those fibers out, but on purpose, if I really want to fluff up that fly. So the last thing that we didn't talk about is a burnishing tool. This is for people who use silks that tie fancy salmon flies, Atlantic salmon flies. This is for pushing your thread around. Right? It's a tool to make sure that your threads aren't wrapped over the top of each other, that you want everything nice and flat so you can rub back and forth with this without causing any damage to your threads and materials. So that's, again, really just high level, and we hope you come back for looking at some of our other tools. Thanks for watching.